Okay, we are live with the F1RST qualifying podcast, watch along, whatever you want to call it these days, for Las Vegas. I'm joined by the Pedro.
Hello.
And we are at the now infamous Las Vegas circuit, as I said, which is a 3.8 mile or 6.1 kilometre upside down spider pig circuit. Which has manhole covers coming up in FP1 and absolutely all sorts. Pedro, take it away. What's your feelings on this track and what's going to happen in this qualifying session?
It's actually funny that you mentioned the spider pig thing, because that's what I thought as soon as they announced this track last year. That's exactly the same thing that I saw when the track layout was revealed. In regards to the manholes, that's something that they really should have probably checked more thoroughly before, they opened the track to F1. I know that they were probably a little bit late in the construction of a few of the elements of the track, but I don't think that justifies it. Like, leaving something that could be a hazard to drivers and or spectators so unsupervised, really. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people have been heavily criticizing this race, even though we haven't actually done a race yet. But yeah, there was a lot of controversy surrounding how this track was built. Apparently, some illegalities, some things that were being hid by to the general public. And I can't really imagine, like, for people who are living there that don't like F1, having these cars that late at night, just going around the streets with them trying to get some rest, is probably not ideal.
I don't think there's many people resting in Las Vegas, but I get your point. Yeah, you're not wrong. We're going to move away very quickly from the talk about the track, because we actually have on-track action at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's very little I think they could have done about the manhole covers, because the sheer fact is they haven't got any support races here. There's no way they could have tested it.
Exactly.
And apparently, from what one of the reporters said, is the manhole cover came away from the concrete. So it's kind of like you can test it as much as you like, you can plan it as much as you like. But
there's no way to predict it.
But until you've got some senior staff from another circuit in there helping you out, nothing's going to work. But anywho, we have on-track action. We have K-Mag going around that wonderful, I'm going to call it, it's a wonderful sphere, which is a whole new dynamic problem if it flashes, and it might put the drivers off. Hello CBD, by the way.
Hi CBD.
Is that Rolex thing a digital edition? Well, that looked like it was wrong.
Yeah, that was quite stretched out.
That was completely out of aspect ratio. That's another thing for the track this week, then. But it's an interesting track. I mean, it might be one of those things. It may give a good race because it's going to make the drivers work really hard, just because they're going to have absolutely no grip. So it may be one of those oddities that creates interesting racing just because of the sheer fact it's not a good track, which is kind of counterintuitive a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially with what you said, like they also didn't factor in, they didn't have into consideration the lower temperatures we're going to have there as well. And as you said, the fact that there are no support series really doesn't help in terms of getting some rubber out on track, and it just really makes it difficult for drivers to find any grip, especially on the first few laps.
Certainly does. There'll be a heck of a lot of track evolution right up until the Grand Prix.
Yeah. Well, worth mentioning as well. I mean, Carlos Sainz, because of that manhole that came loose yesterday, um, had damage to the car. Had to replace parts of the car that are already exceeding the permitted allocation, um, which seems a bit ridiculous to me, if you ask.
It's catch
Uh,
22 though, isn't it? They can't give
I
them an
think,
exception because it breaks their own rules, but they got
yeah,
it's absolutely catch 22.
yeah,
Sorry to jump in, ahead of you there, but Leclerc has gone P1, 4 tenths faster than Perez, with 13 minutes still to go, so that'll come down. And see, the reason
yeah.
why I jumped in is because CBD happened to say Ferrari
Mm,
looks strong, just as
it,
Leclerc went P1,
they do.
so it needed to
They
be
do,
said.
yeah. Particularly Shaw is looking very quick this
And,
weekend.
and if you look at it by the stats, he was 2.5 seconds quicker than anyone else in FP1.
Mm,
Of course, barely anyone set a lap in FP1, but that's besides the point.
yeah.
And then, as you said, Sainz was at the back of the grid with half a car being destroyed.
Mm, yeah. Uh, yeah. In regards to the penalties, we already know Carlos is gonna get a 10 place grid penalty because of what happened during free practice. But also, he's not the only one getting a penalty. Lance Stroll apparently got a 5 place grid penalty for overtaking under yellow flags in FP3.
Of course he did. Another consideration for the teams is that they also have to take all of their parts, and at this late stage of the year, out of the budget. So that
Yeah.
is going to be horrendous for Ferrari unless they can claim it back. Because they might be able to claim that one, because it's damage not of their own fault. So
Exactly.
we'll see.
I hope they can appeal it and at least not have to pay for the parts. I mean,
Yeah.
and I hope the FIA reviews the rule set for next season, because this incident with Carlos definitely found
Sergeant P2, sorry.
clear gap in the rules. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was looking at it. It's 3 tenths quicker than. It's almost 3 tenths quicker than Perez.
That was worth interrupting anything. Excuse me, what? Okay. No, you are right. And then CBD has just said, what a penalty for breaking his car. Is there an explanation? It's the rule set. It's as simple as that. If they have to replace parts, no matter the cause, if some hillbilly with a shotgun walks up and shoots the engine, it's still the problem of the team. Yeah, no, as far as I'm concerned, it is. You can't legislate for everything. It's one of those. What would you? It's horrible. You can't. It's impossible to legislate for in the rules. And if the FIA or the stewards were to give Ferrari a pass on it, then effectively Ferrari in the next race will have a much more powerful engine potentially than what they would have had. So you can't win.
Yeah.
It's a rule set. The only thing you could do is go back to having engines that last one Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Each and every time. Like, boom, new engine. And that'd be hella expensive.
Absolutely.
Particularly with the hybrid. If they go back to the old V8s, they're actually relatively quite cheap. Relatively compared to the hybrids.
Yeah.
Right, Leclerc, 134.0, goes 7 tenths clear.
The man is... I think he's using a rocket ship today. He's using a fake Red Bull car. I think they just painted the car with Ferrari colors, but...
He's using the 2018 Ferrari engine.
I think he's looking quick. Damn.
Oh, Norris.
Oh.
Who was that? Was that Perez or
was that
Max? Perez.
Might have been.
That's just unfortunate.
Okay.
Nothing much Perez could have done. He should have been warned by his team there.
Piastri.
Yeah, pushing these limits, isn't he?
Yeah.
I remember. I heard. Start again. I heard you say that Alonso was looking feisty this weekend. We're about to find out.
Yeah. Let's see.
P2, but
P4.
P4 second row. I meant to say second row. My head went P2. So it's in a Q1. We'll see what happens. I mean, the Williams are looking good today, but as we know, they don't have a high downforce car. But this is very much a point and squirt circuit, so it's just if you've got no downforce, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out because some of the teams are using like a Monza style rear wing. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, so little.
Considering that Williams is so good on the straights, it should really benefit
P4.
them.
There
You can see Albon going P4.
Yeah. Well, so little of these corners are anything to do with aerodynamics. They might as well have a drag car setup.
That is true.
You see that Ferrari's got barely a rear ring on it at all.
Exactly that.
Funny enough, Leclerc's fastest, so what does that tell you?
Ooh. Hamilton P3, okay. Wasn't expecting that. Sonoda's lap time got deleted. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of track evolution.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. It's already showing on the times.
Russell, the only man not to set a representative time thus far. That's late for a Mercedes.
Do you reckon he's doing another lap just to warm up the tires?
Could be. You did mention earlier on that the temperature and the local ambient temperature is quite low, which will affect the tyre warm-up. So possibly.
Yeah. And we know the Mercedes has historically struggled with warming up the tires.
I just saw the Caesar's Palace Hotel. When you do see some... Oh, there you go. There's another sign for it. When you see some of these awnings and some of these displays, it is quite impressive. However, we're going to find out the track is any good tomorrow in terms of racing. Okay, Russell had his time deleted that previous lap, so that makes sense. So he was obviously on a hot lap and he just got out of it because he was off. How have you got track limits on a street circuit?
Well, there are a few corners on which you can get it.
So
mainly that chicane after Sector 1.
Yeah, my brain just had a complete and utter fart there for a moment. It was like, how can you have track limits when you're closed in? But if he's completely cut a chicane, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe just exceeding it a little bit. I don't know. Okay, Russell goes P5. That's not a bad effort.
Looks like the AlphaTauris are struggling today. They look down on power. I would imagine the Alpines, Max goes P2. I would imagine the Alpines who have been complaining so loudly for the last couple of months that their engine is 20 brake horsepower down on everyone else. Is going. If that is the case, they are going to be towards the back.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, I think they're. Even if one of the cars makes it out of Q1, I don't think they'll go past Q2. Just because of how... because the car, even the car in general, doesn't seem suited for this style of track. Stuff with long straights and that, so...
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Sainz is going faster in the first sector, personal best in the second, with Leclerc fastest in the second sector. So I think Leclerc's wasting tyres at this point. Sainz does need to do it to make sure he gets into Q2. But we see time and time again, Max has an ability to only go out once in Q1 and have much more tyres than the rest of the field for the rest of the sessions.
Yeah.
So why Leclerc is out there setting more times, I do not know, because Zhou's not going to get 1.7 seconds on him,
Yeah.
let alone Zhou, Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Gasly, and Tsunoda, amongst
Yeah.
others.
The only driver there in the bottom 5 which I can see getting out of there, well, 2 drivers. Maybe Gasly, but then again, as we were just mentioning, that Alpine doesn't seem particularly suited to this track. And maybe Nico Hülkenberg, who effectively goes P4.
Norris has had his time deleted. He's down to P9 still.
Alonso improves. Okay, Show gets out of the bottom 5, but that's not a big enough margin.
No,
as I said, Gasly goes P4.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's possibly just track evolution for Gasly. But watch that time. That's still a big gap to Leclerc, though, isn't it? 6 tenths.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap that other people can slot in there.
Surprised to see Piastri down there.
We've got 2 minutes 42 left.
I'll
If
see if
anyone's
he's
going
on
to be
top.
wanting to set a time, they have literally 1 minute to get out there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. 1 minute from now to be out there. I just heard Crofty say something about debris. I'm not seeing any yellow flags, so it could just be Crofty being Crofty.
I think they were mentioning something about qualifying. Oh. Well, that was close.
Super close, 1 centimetre to the wall. Did we need to know that?
It's just like, what is this? Why did they think this information was relevant?
If they'd have just gone somehow put a camera up above him, so you can do that at most corners, and maybe put a little stat afterwards going 1 centimetre. You don't need a gap to the corner to be told what it is. I mean, it's obvious.
And I'm surprised they didn't use a different measure unit, like a mosquito.
Oh no, they got to use freedom units, so that'll be 1 sideways hamburger patty or something. 1 hot dog width.
Oh man. Russell got another lap time deleted, but then again, 1:59.8. It's not like gonna make a huge difference. Turn 8 again.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what turn 8 is. I still haven't driven a lap around here.
Yeah, this time I'm gonna try and find out. It is that chicane after sector 1. Okay.
At the Spider Pig Grand Prix.
Yes.
Yellow in sector 1 and 2. So that's got to be at the second chicane or something? Has somebody binned it?
Oh, no. It just went green straight away. It might have been someone who went off there, perhaps.
Well, Russell's looking in danger at the moment. So is Ocon and Hamilton and Norris. Okay.
I think Piastri didn't improve there on his lap.
Oh, dear. Right, so checker flag out. Everyone on the final lap.
Yeah.
Hamilton P6, okay. That should be secure. He's 4 tenths ahead of Russell and Ocon. Hulk looks like he's got pace today.
Yeah.
But Haas always do in qualifying.
Oh my god. Seeing Lando is in the pits at the moment.
Oh, Russell's woken up. He's just gone P3.
Is Stroll gonna knock out Lando?
He might well do.
You can have both McLarens out in Q1.
Well, Piastri's
No
still
way.
out there. He has. Ooh, that's a clanger from McLaren.
What are McLaren doing? So
out by
apparently Yuki
2.
went off twice on his final run, so yeah, that's also him out. Ooh.
Well, he's gone from pole position 1 week to P16 the next.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
Sonoda
I mean,
also massively off pace as well. That's strange.
he went off twice on his
Oh,
final
he
lap.
did. I thought you said
Apparently.
Norris.
Yeah.
My mistake.
No, it was him. I mean, I think McLaren's result now is not something that you'd put down to just simply the car not having that much. Oh my god, look at that! Everyone bunching up there. That was scary.
This is happening more and more often, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, was that Max?
Does look like it.
Max, what are you doing, man?
Oh, that's quite funny from Ocon. Nope. Because these two don't get on very well.
Yeah. Max.
Do you know what? I'm not a lover of Ocon, but Max has just called him a stupid idiot. But in this one, Ocon was right.
Yeah, I think Verstappen just got
Max
annoyed that Ocon overtook him at the start of this final run.
Yeah.
But like, there's no justification for him to do what he did.
Maximum tyre. Oh, hang on, I just lost that bit of information. Unfortunately, I screenshot it.
Just maximum delta time.
Yeah.
For Hamilton, Russell, Albon, Zhou, Gasly, and Bottas.
Do you have a photographic memory? Because that is good.
No, I just went backwards. I just went backwards on the feed. I mean, I just lost a massive opportunity to say, yeah.
Fair. Remember when you quote Max punching Ocon yesterday? We will get part 2 soon. Yes. Also, you never told us why you were like Max Verstappen.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely room for some tension when they get off the cars.
Well,
I mean,
that
I think
happened.
Ocon's incident at the time was probably more, costly in a way. But yeah, it's still like.
Well, either way, it's not Ocon this time having a crash with someone and blaming the other person for being in front of them. like Brazil last week. It's like, oh, Alonso.
Yeah. Alonso,
you crashed
idiot.
into him.
No, you just crashed by yourself, mate. I wouldn't be surprised if the FIA don't give Max a penalty.
Yeah, for the block on one of the McLarens. No, that was Perez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you're allowed to overtake people in qualifying. I think he'll escape penalties on that, but he is being a bit of a tool.
Yeah, it's just like as much noise as you probably can be in the moment. Like, it doesn't give you the right to, just almost crash into someone at the start of a lap. So, and that was deliberate. So.
Yeah, well, that's him just trying to get position for his next lap.
Yeah.
The one thing I really, really dislike about Max, so I'm not going to go on a rant, is he always believes he's right. Always, without question. It's like, he's in my way. I'm going to get past him. I don't care what happens to them. Rather than backing up 5 seconds and then just doing your own thing. Which would be a lot easier on everyone. But neither here nor there. As I've always said, I really dislike him in a car. Outside of a car, I think he's fine. But in a car, I really dislike him.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Tell you what, that eye thing is very pretty. But I did see a stat that it's lost like $144 million or something like that. Like negative, yeah, negative profit. I mean, how would you manage to lose that amount of money? Have they gambled it all away in the casino next door?
Probably, that's what I was going to say. Probably
Yeah.
gambled away.
Has Brad Pitt been at it with Ocean's 57? Which is probably his age, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, another incident involving Stroll with yellow flags. Failing to slow down yellow flags. Well, he already has a 5-second penalty for failing to slow down in Q3. In FP3, sorry.
I take it you mean first place penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right for Stroll.
Did I say 5-second penalty?
You did.
My bad.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well.
One thing I like about Max is he's honest. He said he doesn't like the track. He said, yes, I've driven better tracks. I feel like other drivers would say something different. Do you know what? Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I mean, when it comes to his... I'm not going to say all of his personality, but his points of view, generally he's pretty spot on.
Yeah. I'd say so too.
Otherwise, nyom from Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Enjoying the Las Vegas Grand Prix?
I'd say that sometimes Max's honesty can be his worst own enemy, but then again, it's that honesty that really defines him as a person. At times, so
it's both his worst enemy and his best quality at the same time.
It's
weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, qualifying between Alonso and Stroll so close, 17-3. In fact, I'm surprised it's not 20-0, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
18-2, Max to Checo. Oh. I keep seeing a load of awnings in places that look like they've been CG'd on. They just don't look like they're the right ratio. Because I know they can do that now. It just looks weird.
Yeah.
Nick says, wouldn't say enjoying it. What else you gonna do on a Saturday morning? Well, I could answer that one, but not on this podcast. I mean, play the game, of course.
Absolutely. That's probably what I'm gonna do after this ends.
Right now, you know that Snoop Dogg meme when you play the like San Andreas thing?
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm not sure if you've realized that they were showing a track dominance graph between Lando and Ricciardo.
No, I missed it. I was being a pain. What would I miss?
I mean, what I've seen is that Lando was fastest through the first sector, entirety of it.
Oh.
And throughout the rest of the track, Daniel was actually quicker. So
either way, both. Oh, I was going to say both were eliminated. Ricciardo must have just squeaked in then.
He did.
Okay, who did we lose? We never actually paid much attention to it. We lost both McLarens, Zhou, Tsunoda,
and Ocon.
Ocon, okay. Ocon, you can say that's reasonable. He had Max potentially stuck up his lap, and he had a half a car rebuild thanks to one of the things as well. So give him that.
Because Alonso crashed into him.
Yeah, that's the one. Last week, so it's still this week. It's his fault. I get you. One thing I kind of wish they'd change is obviously you've got Q1, Q2, Q3. Get rid of the purple sectors for the first lap in Q2.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit irritating. It's like, he's going purple. Wait, it's K-Mag. That's not possible.
I mean, he's the only one on track, so it would be hard for him not to go purple.
Exactly.
Saying that, he's not too far off Sainz's current lap time.
True, very true. I do remember a few times watching CCSR. It's like, he's going purple on the first sector. It's the second lap. The first lap was a grid start, of course. And he's going purple. He's going purple. Yes, they're all going purple.
Yes.
It always made me laugh, and I could always hear his commentary just as we go around the first corner. I was like, I know.
Yeah.
Has he not worked this out after doing it for 2 years? Bless him. I mean, everyone has a gap. We just all do. Okay, Perez goes P1 in Q2, 10 minutes remaining.
Alonso went quicker in Sector 1. Went the fastest out of everyone.
Yeah, but he's still 9 seconds down.
Oh, are you seeing the time difference between Charles and Checo?
Yeah. 1,000th of a second. I mean, what is that in realistic terms? There's absolutely nothing, is it?
Yeah, I'd really love to see like what leads you to be 1 millisecond slower than someone.
Yeah. What's the
like,
distance?
what's the difference?
What's the distance in actual measurable units, not hamburgers?
It's an atom of burger bun.
Okay. Alonso goes P1. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, he's awake.
And then he goes P7. Not only Alonso went quicker, he's 1.1 seconds ahead of Stroll.
Yeah, I'm going to say don't pay too much attention to this run. You can have some drivers out on used softs and some out on fresh.
Yeah.
With the track evolution as well.
It's constantly going to be changing.
Yeah. Only Alonso, Perez and Leclerc, I would say, are safe from any form of elimination in this at the moment.
Do you reckon? I'm not sure.
Unless well... 4 attempts, Alonso 4 attempts clear of Albon. There'd have to be one hell of a ramp up in track evolution in the next 8 minutes, but we have seen it before.
We have seen it, yeah.
What track was that at?
Well, we've had that happen on a few tracks this season.
There was one track in particular we saw massive evolution, and it was unprecedented.
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if it was Singapore or Zandvoort or something like that.
It was Singapore, because we were having loads of people drop out in random places and the Red Bulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. Those ones at the back, the signage, they are digital, because I just saw a flag waving and it went in and out of the digital signage. I knew it looked wrong. It just looked too perfect. It's like, that's not how colours work.
You are deceiving my eyes.
Alright, 7.5 minutes to go. Alonso, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Albon, top 5. Okay.
Yeah. I think everyone in the bottom 5 is yet to put a lap in. Or a representative lap.
Do you know, I still actually haven't seen the Alfa Romeo on track once to look at the livery.
They haven't been featured, have they?
No. Max no time. Hulkenberg's on an out lap. Bottas no time. Must be on an out. Well, must still be sat in the pits, really. It looks like the Merc boys are setting a very meandering first lap. They're getting 13, 14, 15 seconds off the pace. And then setting a hot lap. So maybe you're right. Maybe they're putting a bit of heat into the tyres.
Yeah.
One of the team bosses, I can't remember which one. I think it might have been Zach Brown. Did say that the temperature isn't a big problem, but it's obviously a factor, particularly when it comes to qualifying. So when it comes to the race, they'll be fine. But it's
hopefully.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Okay, so Max is on a hot lap. Both the Merc boys are about to come around and finish their lap. Hamilton
Hamilton was
goes
P1.
P1. Okay.
Okay. Russell P2. Okay. That's
And
something we haven't
Max?
seen in a while.
What does Max
But
do?
Max is about to... Yeah.
Round the corner. Boom. Okay.
Yeah, 2 tenths.
Right. And when it comes to Q2, I don't place too much bother in it.
Yeah, it's just that I believe Max is gonna have a lot more fresh sets of softs going into Q3 than other people.
As
I
always.
presume.
Okay, Leclerc's setting a faster middle sector. K-Mag with a fastest first sector.
Bottas just set unrepresentative time, but I think that you might be doing something similar to the Mercs.
K-Mag is 4 tenths up on his
Wow.
previous time.
Charles went P1 by 7 tenths.
Holy hell, where did that come from?
And Sainz is 5 tenths slower than him.
What does K-Mag do? Where is he currently? He is... Where is he?
K-Mag is P10. He's about to go to the final corner.
Oh, he's going to go about half a second faster, so 3.8.
Damn, 33.6?
Okay. I think we are seeing significant track evolution then.
Yeah. Like, just...
Okay, Leclerc wasn't
From one moment
safe.
to the other, Hamilton and Russell were P1 and 2, and they're now 1 second off the lead. Well, here's Bottas.
Okay, now we're seeing the car, which basically just looks like a Mercedes from this angle. Which you'll be used to.
Yeah, that's what people were saying as well.
Yeah, he'll be used to this car. Wait, it was silver in his day, wasn't it? Yeah, that just looks like a Mercedes with an Italian rear wing.
Yeah.
It looks like from that angle, it looks like a 2018 Haas or something like that.
True, actually. It's because of the gold details, yeah, I can see that.
CBD says, I keep thinking the Ferrari cars are the Alfa Romeo, and I keep thinking the Alfa Romeo are the Mercedes. This is going to get confusing. This is why I don't like liveries being changed. My brain doesn't accept it. Oh, 2 centimetres, super close to the wall. 1 burger patty width.
Probably, yeah.
Freedom units. We've got AWS. They're not an American company, are they? Are they American?
Are you genuinely asking, or?
I genuinely don't know. I mean, is Amazon is that Bezos?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that would be American then. Okay. I mean,
I wasn't sure if you were actually asking it or if you were just being ironic.
I couldn't remember if it was Bezos or not. Because you get a lot of these companies which are sold on and off to different people. They're not owned by the same people anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm always very careful to say who owns things.
Right, 2 minutes to go. Who are you expecting to get knocked out?
Danny Rick, probably Stroll, Gasly, and Bottas and Sargent. I think Albon will squeak in. The Haas look quick today if they can just crack on. And that real faux jizzle. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing today? You watching the Grand Prix? Grand Prix qualifying? False habit. Right, 1 minute 22 seconds to go. So anyone who is out there will now be on the final lap for Q2, and Perez is in the pits. So he, might be in the spot bother.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna be safe there.
He's doing the same as us. It's absolutely fair, my dude. What are you thinking of the the spectacle this weekend. On weather conditions, it's 15 degrees. It's nowhere near the 5 degrees that they were forecasting.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, this should be fine. It's not ideal. It should be fine.
Yeah, that's like the high 60s or something in Freedom units.
Yes.
Everything is American Freedom units today. Apparently, it's 20 minutes from the real Faux Jizzle's house.
Oh,
Well,
very
it's a
nice.
shame you don't have a spare $1,000 because. Well,
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of spare seats in the stands. You might be able to get in for about a tenner. It doesn't look. Okay, admittedly, they haven't got the lights in the stands, but it does look like there's spare seats on a lot of different places.
Okay, Sargent and Bottas are out of the elimination zone. Or, yeah.
Those digital boards are annoying me. I saw one of them move that time. Now I've noticed it, I can't unsee it.
Oh, no. Perez is gonna get knocked out. Yeah.
I think he is. Hulk's gonna go quick. There he's gone.
And Hamilton as well. Is Hamilton on a lap?
Hamilton must be on a lap because he's.
Let me check.
Okay, we're watching the back end of Ocon or Gasly.
He's not going quick, Hamilton.
They're saying he's knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay, that happened. Yeah, he's not going quick. Yeah, from P1 to P11 in the space of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Wow.
Well, I got 2 of the 5 right, and 2 of them are really 2 people I'd never thought would be eliminated today.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That was really a mistake by Red Bull.
What a mistake
By
to make
making
it.
Checo go to the pits.
Oof. Well,
Wow.
both Williams in the top 10. Eliminated, we have Perez, Hamilton, in no particular order because I'm reading it wrong, Hulkenberg, Stroll and Ricciardo.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, I just same as you. I just wasn't expecting to see Hamilton and Perez there.
CBD says this Grand Prix is going to be a good one. As I said earlier, it may be one of the cases where a bad track actually gives a good Grand Prix because a lot of the drivers are struggling.
Yeah.
So,
Still a good effort by Danny Rick. That car doesn't look any good around here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Apparently, they've taken the whole back end off Red Bull now, which is why they've had such an upturn in performance.
Yeah, I've seen that they took a new suspension the previous race.
Yeah. Yeah, it's now the whole suspension, and obviously got the same gearbox, power unit, all that sort of thing. So, the literal whole back end is a Red Bull.
Yeah.
It's just the aerodynamic surfaces that are different.
I'm surprised to see Magnussen ahead of Hülkenberg, because that hasn't been all that common.
Yeah, Hulk has been particularly impressive this year, I feel, particularly compared to K-Mag.
Yeah. I'm not sure what happened to K-Mag, but he's not... Like, he hasn't followed the good momentum he had last season.
Yeah, he did obviously have that surprise pole position in Interlagos for the sprint last year, which was, well, let's face it, dumb luck. But generally, he started to get rid of that attitude he had with, I'm going to crash with you if you go side by side with me. So, yeah, he had a good one last year, and he's just been a bit anonymous this year, hasn't he?
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah.
Which is not what you want when you want to be selling your yourself for a drive for the following year.
Yeah.
Which I believe
Worth
they're both coming
mentioning
back
as
next
well.
year. But
Sorry?
they're both coming back next year, but the year after that is unknown.
Open, it's open for debate, Worth mentioning that Hülkenberg is driving the old spec Haas because apparently he preferred it more, whilst K-Mag is driving the new spec car. So
when you say new spec, does that mean new parts?
I think at Austin they've introduced the new car concepts, basically just almost an entire new car. And Hülkenberg wasn't liking the way the car was handling. They went back to that. Well, let me check if I'm thinking about the right spec.
While you're doing that, I'll just bring up a factoid. As we're just hearing Checo have a meltdown over the comms were getting knocked out. I remember a few years ago, I think it was it was either a Lotus or a Haas. It was at that time that both of the cars looked like black and gold, and they're a year or two apart. But either way, we had, I know it was Grosjean, and he was driving one of the very last Grand Prix, about Austin time, in the Australia spec car, because he preferred it. So exactly the same thing compared to his teammate.
Yeah.
And then they ended up essentially running two different cars.
Yeah. And I have just checked, so Hülkenberg is driving the car pre-Austin, because that's when they introduced the majority of the upgrades. Whilst Magnussen is driving the car with the new specs, really, or upgrades, or how you want to call it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that car's, the car with the upgrades maybe suits the nature of this track more? Not sure.
Maybe. I mean, once you get to an actual downforce track, then it'll be a bit different in terms of what you can extract from a car, potential, and all that sort of thing. I think whichever one's going to be slipperier in the straight line is going to be better here. But I think we'll see. Abu Dhabi's kind of not really a particularly great downforce track to come, so it's not going to be the greatest of tests for a Spec B car.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason why a lot of cars get updates for Barcelona and for Silverstone, because they're the high downforce tracks that require it.
Yeah.
It looks like Norris is not too upset by it. Maybe he's just bemused that he's been knocked out again. I think he's thinking back to Mexico. We actually had a good race.
No, it's hopefully. Well, I've seen from what I've seen in regards to simulation, race pace, McLaren was fourth quickest, I believe. Fourth quickest car. I can't speak. So maybe they might be able to make up a few of those places in the race, but it's you've seen the car with the upgrades. Still doesn't suit this style of track as much.
They have historically suffered with slow speed corners, and they have a lot of slow speed corners here. I'm surprised to see, in fact, we had Gasly has got into Q3 despite Ocon not making it, but it's clearly not suffering too badly with that top end speed and lack of horsepower.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's impressive by Gasly today. I don't know, but I think that probably the track evolution caught a lot of people off guard. So we might see things getting shaken up tomorrow.
Previous stats for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Reutemann on pole. I think the other one was Prost. I've glossed over that already.
Yes.
Why did they give us stats from 40 years ago?
I mean, we haven't gone here in that amount of time, so...
I know, but it's not like it's relevant. Neither of them are driving.
Yeah. It's a little bit of, like, trivia, I guess, but...
Yeah, I suppose so. Oh, bless him, I guess. Okay, so Bottas has done well to get through to Q3 as well, but he keeps doing that with a car recently.
It's well, a really good effort from him. I'm quite impressed.
I think it is showing that the system for the budgetary constraint and the aerodynamic testing loads that they're allowed is kind of working. It's bringing some of the... It's brought Williams right into the fold.
Yeah, at least we are seeing, well, although some teams have like just really track-specific cars, at least we get a few of these surprises more often.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and I think in general, like even the racing, I mean, obviously Red Bull are a bit far ahead of everyone, but especially in the midfield, like it has been very competitive, and we've seen a lot of good racing there. So. Yeah. Yeah, Williams really will really want to capitalize on this weekend because AlphaTauri was closing in on them. And at least with both cars making it in Q3, it will make things much better for them in terms of, well, getting some opportunities to score points tomorrow.
Yeah, and given the championship at the bottom of the table for 7th, they're all fighting for it.
Yeah, because AlphaTauri looked like they were going to finish last, like comfortably, and then all of a sudden just brought a few upgrades to the car, got a lot closer to Williams now. And admittedly, they've also missed out on a few opportunities to score points, mainly Yuki at Mexico, when he had that crash with Piastri. Yeah, they just came out of nowhere, and now it's Haas who are at the bottom. K-Mag might have something to say.
We will see. Okay.
Right.
To the action.
Leclerc goes P1, shocker.
Sainz goes P7, technically.
But you know what? These times are slower in Q2, like at least his first lap.
I rather suspect they're all on worn tyres. It's a banker lap. I'm not going to be paying a blind bit of attention to any actual times until they come around for the dying laps in a couple of minutes. Ooh, Alonso was definitely trying hard though. He locked up the left front into the left-hander, which is always going to be the tyre that you lock up, because as you turn left into left-hander, the front left will unload and lift off the ground ever so slightly, and all the pressure you're putting into the pedal locks up the tyre.
Exactly that.
Which is why you try and brake in a straight line. Perhaps someone should tell Alonso. Give him a bit of advice. See if he can win his third championship with that. Ooh, Russell hasn't been on the podium at least since, well, before Singapore. We know how that worked out.
Yeah.
He's not had a good year, has he? I do rate Russell really quite high on his raw skill. I don't mind his personality either. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I feel like he probably thought that if he beat Hamilton once, he was always going to be quicker than him.
Yeah, and Hamilton's just come back at him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he's a 7-time champion for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hamilton was a bit unlucky to get eliminated today as well in Q2.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
seems.
pretty much a quarter of a tenth.
Yeah,
So,
he does seem a bit more susceptible this year to being dropped out in weird places in qualifying.
exactly. It's not the first time we've seen him get knocked out in like in these types of circumstances.
Yeah, more this year than any other year, but
Mm,
still in a race. He's Hamilton. What you always tend to do is bolt on a set of hard tyres, complain about them for 10 laps, and then suddenly wake up and go faster.
exactly that.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to
but
be
I'm
too
thinking the same
surprised.
about Russell. He's been quite inconsistent, I'd say.
In the race, definitely. Absolutely in the race. I felt sorry for him at Singapore because I
Yeah.
went back and looked at that clip that he had against the wall, and it was tiny. It
Mm.
really was tiny, but a mistake is a mistake. But even Norris admitted he'd done the same thing. As Russell goes P5, half a second slower than
Well,
Leclerc.
that Merc clocked the same top speed as the Red Bull. So I do wonder. I mean, Red Bull don't look like they are running um, the lowest wing possible.
Mm,
But it just goes to show, like maybe Merc are also running a lower wing than that.
quite possibly.
Yeah, they have matched their pace today on the straights.
But when it comes to the race, Red Bull have traditionally this year set the car up for race
Mm-hmm.
runs.
Yeah,
So they will have
they should.
much better tyre longevity.
Yeah,
It's not like other years where if you qualify behind someone, you're stuck behind them the entire race. It just isn't
mm.
like that anymore.
Yeah,
Ooh, Sargent has been rooted to the bottom since Japan. I didn't realise
yeah,
that.
yeah. He hasn't had much. Well, I mean, you could argue that the Williams didn't suit most of those tracks, barring maybe Mexico
Ooh, okay, we've
and
got a car park somewhere around the track. Has he done enough to save his drive for next year?
uh, I mean, it's kind of. I still keep thinking it's kind of one of those things uh, like I think rookies now more than ever haven't like have had the least amount of time to get adjusted to the car. Um, like, and whilst we see, let's say, an Oscar Piastri every now and then, I think it's just setting the standards for the rookies really high. Um, and I think it really compromises how some of them can perform. Uh, yeah, as much as I think we have seen Sargent crash a lot, he's also had a few highs, like mainly in qualifying. Um, like one that springs to mind is when he got to Q3 at Sandford.
Which
Well,
is a
getting
tricky
into
track.
Q3 here as well. Um, I mean, considering he hasn't been to most of these tracks and he's probably the least experienced rookie. I mean, I'm not going to count the Vries and Lawson and that because into as many races as he did. And even like James Valls said that they maybe promoted Logan to the main team a little bit too soon. They reckon maybe another year in F2 would have been beneficial for him. Um, yeah, I think he's kind of slowly getting adjusted to things, even if he is a tad bit inconsistent at times. But I
Yeah,
think he has some raw pace in there. He just needs to unlock the rest and be a little bit more consistent.
agreed.
Well, in regards to your question, I'm not entirely sure, but I can understand why Williams is giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point. Because it's an academy driver as well, so if they want to sign another driver, it's probably going to be a lot more expensive, and it will give like a continuity to this process of giving Logan the chance in F1.
With that in
But I think if he
mind,
doesn't perform well next season, then he
yeah,
should be out.
with that in
Yeah,
mind, we're on the
no,
final
no
laps.
doubt.
So, Ferraris are on
Right.
track. 55 seconds to go. Everyone's on the final lap. What are we going to see?
Okay. Well,
Sargent
Albon
set a
and
warm-up lap.
Bottas are the only ones to set a lap.
Yeah,
You know what? As much as I think Max has has that extra touch of being able to extract lap time out of nowhere in these final runs,
like
I still
Senna.
think that Charles is probably going to get pole position.
We'll see. It looks like a lot of the drivers are going slower in Sector 1, only to light up the second sector. We're about to see what Max does. The second sector.
Yeah.
No, he's going to back out of that. He's 6/10 down. He's clearly going to have to back out of it.
Okay, so let's see then.
Leclerc, he's coming around the
Final corner. 3/10 quicker than Sainz.
That's fine, which should keep Max in P2. Well, it will.
Yeah.
Well, overall, well, after Sainz has his penalty. Sainz doesn't go quicker. That's optimum result for Ferrari boys there. Where are the? Oh, hang on, no, Sainz is still on track. Sorry,
Sainz is still on track. Yeah.
I was looking
You
at a
might
thing
have
which
something to say.
I was looking at the wrong thing there. So, can Sainz pick up the provisional pole? Max has abandoned that lap, which we suspected.
Yeah. I think K-Mag has finished his qualifying for now.
Yeah.
It's a very respectable result in a Haas, must be said.
Absolutely.
If he stays there.
Sainz,
Sainz doesn't improves, but doesn't go as quick as Charles. Sargent P4. Okay.
Whoa, Sargent, Bottas P5. Okay, we're seeing massive track
Bottas
evolution. Albon's lets us set a lap. Here comes Russell up to P4.
P4. Okay.
Right, what can K-Mag, Gasly, and Albon? Albon P5.
Albon P5. Okay.
Gasly P5.
They all want that P5.
K-Mag. Where's K-Mag? I mean, he must have finished his lap by now.
He must have gone to the pits or something.
Okay, that's an interesting result.
It's a very, as we were talking about him before, very good result for Logan here. I know he's still a tenth, like almost 2/10 slower than Albon, but that's a very encouraging result for him.
This is a sentence I haven't said in a long time. Actually, I'm going to say that just afterwards. But CBD just said, is he the only person that just realised Bottas was in Q3? we did notice, but we were surprised by it as well.
Yeah.
There's two... Right. The top team is Ferrari, P1, P2. Do you know what the next best pairing of team is?
Williams.
It's Williams, I know. So that hasn't happened
in a while.
Since 2004, 2003.
It's crazy.
That hasn't happened in best part of 2 decades. Unless they managed it sometime in 2012, which I don't think they did. Okay, that's a cracking result for both Sargent and Albon. Leclerc P1, Max will be P2, P3 will be Russell, I believe.
Yes. So everyone from Sainz downwards, just move them up a place.
Yeah. Sainz will be starting in P7. Does that mean
P7? No, Sainz is gonna start P12.
Oh, 10 place.
Yeah, I
thought it was a 5 place.
Stroll is the one that has a 5 place.
Yeah, I got the two mixed up. Oh, well, okay. Yeah. So that puts Hamilton into 10th then. I still think they should, if they get a 5 place penalty, apply it for each session.
For each session, I agree with you.
It's not fair. If someone's got a 20 grid place penalty, they just wouldn't bother setting a lap, which is fine. Exactly. That means they've got loads of tyres for the race.
Exactly. But I'm actually surprised with Gasly today, because we thought that he was going to struggle, and technically he's going to start P4 tomorrow. So
yeah, when Alpine say they haven't got any power in their power unit, it's like, you are just saying that so you get a free upgrade. I mean, we know what you're thinking. It's a political game, F1. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, it must have compromise their setup in a way to maybe overturn that deficit. Because we still know that there is a deficit, like power deficit with that power unit, but Gasly clearly proving that the car still has something in it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the only way that this is ever going to be leveled is if they were to have all have the same spec engines,
Exactly.
which is never going to happen,
Yeah.
or spec cars, which will never happen anyway because Formula One. Oh, either way, what ifs, buts, and maybes when it comes to F1.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Max P2, but I think we're going to see another Leclerc pole converted into a win by Verstappen, which is becoming a horrendous stat.
Yeah. It's crazy to see like a good driver like Charles getting this, like, just adding up these negative stats, if you want to call him that way.
I think the stat is Max has won more Leclerc poles than Leclerc has, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something to that effect. Is it?
Yeah. I mean, we know that car isn't. That Ferrari is more suited for qualifying than the races, but I guess we will see tomorrow what happens.
Is it me or Sainz's hair look like Vegeta when he's got it like that?
Yes.
Is he over 9,000 right now? No, he'd only be over 9,000 if he was on pole.
That's a trick question because it isn't over 9,000, is it?
Yes, that is correct. It's 8,000 because somebody translated it wrong. I'm aware. I was literally watching Dragon Ball last night as well. And no power on this earth will make me watch Dragon Ball Evolution, which is the live-action movie.
Right.
Well, I guess that is it for qualifying. Any final thoughts? Because we are basically just going to be staring at Sainz and his funky hairdo.
Yeah, just in general, like, really good session for. Well, I mean, Ferrari had a good session as well, but for teams like Williams, this can be really good for them in terms of their point scoring chances coming into tomorrow and the Constructors' Championship fight. Gasly actually extracted a lot of performance out of that apparently slow Alpine today. Surprising to see Bottas getting into Q3 with a good surprise. In a negative way, I think Hamilton is getting knocked out in Q2 was a massive letdown, and Checo, I think it was a massive mistake by Red Bull by calling him out to the pits and don't let him go out again.
Yeah, Red Bull error. It's always with Perez, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not the first time this year. It's not the second time either.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there've been a few instances on which if there's a mistake happening at Red Bull, it usually affects Perez more than Max. Apart from that, also I was quite disappointed to see both McLaren getting knocked out in Q1.
Same.
I presume they're probably, or I hope they show their true pace tomorrow, because that's when it really counts. The AlphaTauri looked quite a bad car in a way. Even the Aston, Alonso looked a lot more promising in the first couple of sessions and even during pre-practice than what he was able to show today. But hopefully he'll have something to say coming into tomorrow. He seems to come alive in the races. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say.
If it's one thing we've learned this year, just because a team is quick in qualifying does not mean they have any pace on race day. I mean, you have to look at Ferrari or Mercedes in the last race for that one.
Exactly.
So when it comes to Hamilton, he might come alive tomorrow. Norris probably will, because we know that
Yeah.
McLaren is quick. The Astons, we'll see the Haas go backwards as they always do.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of
Bottas
their
will
car.
probably go back as well.
Yeah, oh,
I
but yeah,
assume.
the Alfa Romeo. If Bottas ends up in the points, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we're going to see a lot of movement. If anything, that grid is very encouraging for a good Grand Prix.
Yeah. I'm actually quite curious to see how Williams will do tomorrow.
Yes, same. If they were to finish where they started, that is one hell of a load of points for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sargent has got points now, hasn't he? He picks them up after the Grand Prix, after
Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
the double elimination. So yeah, it is encouraging for a good Grand Prix.
Definitely.
I'm more looking forward to it now after seeing qualifying than I have been for the last year.
Yeah.
It's not because we're here; it's because it has thrown up an interesting, unique qualifying session.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking as well. I kind of have my expectations not high but not too low either for this. Well, because we've seen the track, it definitely didn't seem like a good track. But if qualifying is anything to go by, as you said, it should give us an entertaining race tomorrow.
One can hope, at very least, we can hope that Max doesn't get out into the lead at turn 1 and sod off into the distance.
Yeah.
Factoid for you before we go. Apparently, this year might be the first year that Mercedes don't win since 2012, 2011.
Yeah.
2012, I think it was. And the first
Yeah.
year that Brit doesn't win since 1957.
Wow.
I heard that somewhere. Whether it's accurate or not, I can't remember. But as far as I can think, I can go back all the way to at least the mid 80s, and you got Mansell and all in there. And you go back further, you got Watson. You go back further than that, you got loads of Graham Hills and Jackie Stewart's, 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that being true. I mean, it's not going to be one of those tragedies, but it's definitely a
surprising
50, near 60-year streak that's going to come to an end thanks to Max Verstappen.
It's like pretty much what that's saying is that ever since F1 was created, there hasn't been a Brit that hasn't scored that hasn't got a win in a season.
Yeah. But you could argue in the particularly in the 90s and 2000s, we've had Mansell and Hill, world champions, followed very swiftly in the 2007 by Hamilton, and then Button, and then Hamilton. A bit of an overabundance. So yeah. Okay, so well, this race or next race, we might see a very big streak broken.
Yeah.
Something to keep an eye out for, unless Russell or Hamilton or even Norris can pull out a miracle this or next week. And I will pay to have Norris win next week, because that would be one, a great end, and two, it will keep the streak alive. Until next year, until Max dominates every single damn race.
Yeah, let's see.
So at that point, you're asking people to come into the race and just take a power unit, which is supposed to last 5 races, just on average, tune them to last for 1 race, and just having a detonation engine, just so they can have 1 race win that season. And each team does that every other race to stop Max winning every one. It will give us an interesting sort of championship. A lot of penalties for 1 race or another, but might be worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what Mercedes did at Sao Paulo in 21.
Yeah, that's what they did that season. Like, they were sometimes they were changing power unit every other race. towards the end.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, well, I'm going to stay on board with Leclerc here just for this lap. I just want to have a look at it. I mean, that long left-hander with that really surprise hairpin is kind of reminds me. It's like a Malaysia-style corner. It's like long corner, long corner, long corner, tight apex out of nowhere, and all the rest of the corners kind of remind me of Saudi or Baku. Just suddenly there's a corner at the end of a long straight, or just left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah. I think it looks a better track than what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Not saying that, considering our expectations probably weren't that high in terms of like how the track was.
They were down in the floor, yeah. that chicane looks like a mirror copy of the one before. I think I might get lost at the pre-GP.
Are you talking about the one after Sector 1?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know where we are on the lap, if I'm honest. There's the finish line. But no, there was one chicane which was left, right, and then left again. And then there was another one which was left, right, and left again. It was like, where are we on track?
Yeah.
In a way, that is the Spider Pig Grand Prix qualifying. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Cracking from Williams. Time to move on. We'll go measure some more Freedom units in tomorrow, and hopefully have a good Grand Prix. I mean, it's looking like it might be a decent one if Max doesn't disappear.
Absolutely.
So, cool. Thank you very much, my man. We'll be back, and yeah. Thank you to everyone who's dropped in. CBD, Nick, the Real Faux Jizzle. Always a pleasure. Anyone else who has dropped by, thank you very much. Anyone on YouTube, feel free to leave a like, a comment, or a subscribe. This will be up, staying up. And otherwise, feel free to come join us for both the pre-GP, which is actually taking place afterwards on Sunday tomorrow, which will be myself, Pedro, and Sarah, and multiple others who will be doing the pre-GP for that, and as well as for the watch-along, which will be at 6 AM tomorrow morning, which it better be a good Grand Prix, otherwise I am going to be pissy by the time the pre-GP comes around. If it's another dud like it was for Suzuka, I am going to be annoyed. On that note, CBD, thank you very much. Pleasure. Tell us why your Max Verstappen later. And on that note, Pedro, thank you very much. Catch you all later.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Always a good one. Laters, guys.
Bye, everyone.